Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Prizepicks Prediction Show here on Orange Bloods Live. It's a college football playoff edition. Ooh, we are almost here, a little more than 48 hours away. I'm Jeff Ketchum. That's Alex Dunlap, Jason Sukamel, Anwar Richardson. We got a lot of stuff to get to. The moment is almost here. Like, comment, subscribe to the page, do all of those things. We do appreciate all the little clicks that you give us. And also know that you still got that Prizepicks promotion. If you haven't signed up yet, I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. But right now, play $5 when you sign up, get 50 instantly. Just use that promo code OrangeBloods. Use the promo code OrangeBloods. That way they know that we sent you. It helps us helping you. Guys, Texas v. Clemson. 50 hours-ish away, and I'm excited about this game. The storylines are incredibly interesting. I have felt from the beginning that this is a game that Texas is going to win by double digits, so I'll start here. Is anybody picking Texas to lose this game?
No.
I want to screenshot that look on Arnold's face and make it my new avatar. It was like, what? Yeah. Exactly. That one right there, Anwar. Does anybody think this is a game that comes down to the final 5 minutes?
That would be less surprising to me. Clearly, I think that there's probably I think it's the Cade Klubnik factor. And if that guy comes and puts on his Superman PJs or something, I think that they might be able to keep it within the spread. But whether that means that they're competitive in the last 5 minutes of the game in any real way, I'm not totally sure about that. But I do think it's something where Texas could fail to cover.
Anwar, you and I are the original Cade Klubnik guys.
Yeah.
Which this game, I've thought about this for 2 weeks. Never have I wanted to be more wrong. What I don't want is on Monday to spike the ball in the end zone and go, I told you guys Cade Klubnik was better than Quinn Ewers. I think that this is just a better Texas football team with better players. What's your vibe on this game a couple of days out? Has anything changed since the announcement of the game a couple of Sundays ago?
Honestly, all that's really has changed is maybe my perspective on Clemson's odds of maybe making this thing close. I think previously I would have thought to myself, okay, well, maybe Texas has a chance to, make this thing close. Maybe, some things that happened. And then I had Larry Williams from Tiger Illustrated on my show this week. And as he kind of broke down Clemson for me, I realized that I'm thinking of Clemson of old, and I'm not thinking Clemson of present. And Clemson of old, those championship teams, that's what I have in the back of my head. That kind of, oh my God, those dynamic defenses, those great offenses. I mean, you've got, Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence, like all those kind of things. And that's not what this Clemson team is. They've got they're good. They're good on defense, not great. They got a running back injury that could be kind of somewhat of an issue for them. And then, Cade Klubnik, as good as he is, this Texas defense has been really good against dual threat quarterbacks. Like they've neutralized every dual threat quarterback that they have faced this year. And I don't expect it to be any different versus Klubnik. And so I go into it thinking like, I don't see Clemson under Klubnik scoring 24 points in DKR, 28 or 31. And that's not what this defense is about. And they have not shown us that all year long. So because this defense is so good, I just don't. It's gonna. I would think it'd be a struggle bus for Clemson to win this one.
Jason, I saw your matchups column this morning over at orangebloods.com. I encourage everybody to go over there and give it a read. There are some interesting rankings and advantages in that. The one that stood out to me, Jason, was you gave the Texas pass defense a 1-star advantage against the Clemson pass offense. And as somebody who is admittedly a big Cade Klubnik fan and hopes that one day he becomes the number 1 overall pick in the draft so that I can take a victory lap and tell everybody I told you so, they're pretty inefficient pass offense. They specialize in the big play, but, you know, as much as I am a Cade Klubnik fan, there are times when his stat lines at the end of games are a little, it's like he's completing 60% of his passes and he's got like a 150 quarterback rating. It's rarely is he elite because he's not very efficient. And it just seemed like to me against the best pass defense in the country that I think Texas has a much bigger edge in that matchup. And I have a hard time. Anwar mentioned 24 points. I have a hard time thinking unless they get a cheap one on special teams or defense, I have a hard time thinking that Clemson scores 20 points in this game.
Statistically, Texas is the number 1 pass defense in the country, so they're going to get the advantage. Klubnik's still a good quarterback. They've got talented skill players.
Bryant Wesco's awesome.
Yeah, well, Williams is their best receiver, and then they got a good tight end. They've got a freshman receiver. So they've got some pretty good skilled players. But, I mean, despite all that, I still think the Texas secondary wins that matchup. Now, saying that, will it shock me if Klubnik throws for 250, something like that? No, because they might be playing from behind. So he's probably going to put up some numbers, but, maybe Texas can turn him over. He's only turned the ball over, five interceptions all year, 33 touchdowns. So he's done a good job of protecting the football. But, I posted those matchups. Let me pull them up. And I did give Texas a 1-star advantage. So not a major advantage there, just because I think Klubnik will get his yards, and maybe some of them are junk yards. Anwar mentioned the running back injury to Maffa. He's got a shoulder injury. He's been playing through it. Dude must be pretty tough based on what I'm heard to play through it. They lost their backup running back to an ACL injury in the ACC championship game. So that's where I think Texas can control this game. If they can make Clemson one-dimensional, which they should be able to, okay, I don't think Clemson's run game is a worry for Texas. I've got Texas with a 3-star advantage there. They make them one-dimensional, then you can start teeing off on Klubnik and making it really difficult. So, we'll see. You may be right. I give Texas a slight advantage over Clemson just because I think of the way the game's going to unfold. But you may be right. They may be able to shut Klubnik down if they can, like I said, make Clemson one-dimensional and then just kind of tee off on him, take away his quarterback run game, maybe force him into some bad decisions. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But I've got Texas certainly with the advantage pretty much across the board.
Alex, before we get into score predictions and then jump into our prize picks, favorites. Yeah. I'm curious, just your thought on Clemson against the best defenses they've faced this season hasn't been real good offensively. Now, the Georgia game is the Georgia game. It was early in the season, first game of the season. They got dump trucked, and I could kind of give them a pass on that if they hadn't played South Carolina in the last month, and they're at home against one of the hottest teams maybe the hottest team in the SEC at the end of the year. I think, Jason, they scored 17 in that
14,
game.
14. They lost 17-14. Yeah.
They went up, I think, 14-0 in that game, and then it just came to a halt. South Carolina comes back, wins the game late. Is there any reason to think that if they couldn't move the ball against South Carolina and couldn't at home score more points against a South Carolina defense that's good, but they're not as good as Texas, why would it be? Would it just be Cade Klubnik goes up a level in that when you've got a really good quarterback, that is always the wild card?
I don't know. I'm not sure that Cade Klubnik at this point is what I consider really good. I think he's on his way to maybe becoming that, right? And I just look at Clemson and who have they beat? Besides, I mean, until the ACC championship, who have they beaten? Is their best
who
win?
has Texas beaten?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I think
that's
no,
the counter.
it's a different conversation because they went like Texas is at least beaten. So I think their best win is versus Pitt.
Well, they beat SMU.
Well, right, okay, so, but all right, well, Texas beat A&M. Like and Texas played a full SEC schedule. Like you look at the you look at the team.
There's no Ole Miss, Alabama, Tennessee,
But every week, dude, it's still. I mean, they played the schedule that was. Look, I'm not here defending Texas's schedule. I can even go so far as to say, even when Texas had played teams that were the patsies on their schedule, even those teams were having quarterback issues and stuff. So look, I'm not saying that Texas had
both of these teams in need of proving their legitimacy on some level.
Dude, I'm telling you, Clemson they don't match up well versus Texas, and it's mainly just having to do with what's happening with the run game right now. Phil Maffa over the last 4 games, I just added up. He's averaging 2.8 yards per carry. He's having to get he's having to get a shoulder surgery as soon as the season is over. You have the media in Clemson asking them, what are you even going to do as far as the depth? Dabo Swinney at his press conference just 2 days ago is having to say, well, what happened to these guys? They were 4 stars whenever they came in. You guys loved them then. Do you just don't want them to? You don't want us to play them now? He's already having to talk like this. Like the defensive front. I don't know how Jason put it in the matchups. I would say that the Texas defensive front and the Texas run defense matches up really well against the Clemson front as far as their offensive line.
Those are the biggest advantages I gave Texas, Alex.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, we'll get to the prize picks and stuff. I think that the Maffa unders are just like what are we doing here? Of course we got to take those, but yeah, I just
give me a score, Alex. Lead us off.
I mean, I'm going to take I'm going to take Texas to win 34-17.
Okay, Mr. Sukamel.
Listen, I do my matchups, and on paper, I didn't add them up, but on paper, I have Texas winning this game probably close to double digits. But I'm just not sold on this Texas offense with Isaiah Bond, assuming he's limited again, right? We think he'll probably play. The run game, Clemson can do some of the same things Georgia can do, not to Georgia's level, but if they can take Texas' running game away and make Quinn Ewers a little bit uncomfortable, I don't know that Texas just lights up the scoreboard. This offense, to me, over the last month or so, has been pretty stagnant at times. So I'm picking Texas to win, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, and I don't think they cover. I think today I saw it was back up to 12. Right, I think it opened at like 11 and then dropped, and now it's back up to 12 maybe. So I'm going to take Texas. What was your score, Alex?
34-17.
Yeah, I'm going to go lower than that. I'll take Texas 24-17.
Okay, now that is okay.
And maybe that's Georgia. Saying Georgia, got Georgia on the brain. Maybe that's Clemson getting a backdoor cover or something. But I think Texas will win, but I don't think they're going to cover that 12 points.
All right, Anwar, you're up.
I'm probably somewhere between the two. I'm with you, Catch, as relates to the Texas conversation, and I think I think it's a big game for both. Both of these programs because I think there's a counter argument of who's Clemson played, and there's a counter argument of who has Texas played, and who's their biggest victories are against. And I don't know if the SMU victory is somewhat bigger than the A&M. The way they came back versus SMU is probably a pretty huge victory for Clemson. There's a lot of good things about the Clemson team, but I'm going with 27-13. I think it's a low scoring game. So that's why I'm somewhere in between the Alex and Jason, like somewhere in between that. But my faith in this Texas defense is the offense will get enough shots to get it done, but the defense should do enough to keep him out the end zone.
Onward, you and I are basically exactly on the same page. I don't know that I can give Texas 30 points in this game because I don't know that that's who they are right now offensively,
Mhm.
but I don't know that Clemson scoring more than 17. I have a hard time thinking that this Texas defense, we're going to be talking about it 10 years from now as the standard by which other defenses are measured against. It's, I think they've proven their chops in terms of like what they can do to opposing teams. It feels like, man, Clemson might score. It's kind of what I feel about this Texas defense. If they give up one touchdown, I'm like, okay, well, that's that for the game. And more times than not, it hasn't been. I can't quite settle on what my score is. It's like Texas not 30, Clemson not 20. So I'll go 29-17, Texas over Clemson. I think Texas is a better football team than Clemson. I have to say, I've watched Clemson a lot this season because I've got some weird little Cade Klubnik bets with Travis Gailey. And so like I'm constantly watching Clemson play. I just don't think they're that good. I think Alex is way more right than he's wrong about the quality of the team. So we all like Texas to win somewhere between 7 and 17. It sounds like. Attack that point spread at your own device because it's probably going to be like right on there, I think. I could see this being like a 10-point game, and I'm like, oops, sorry about that whole thinking they cover thing. But then I could also see Texas winning by 17 and going, yep, you know what? In the end, they were just simply a lot better than Clemson as a football team right now. I don't know that they have the Jimmies and the Joes that the Longhorns have. In fact, I know they don't, which Onward, that goes to your point about when you think of Clemson, you're thinking of the team stacked with the Jimmies and the Joes.
Yeah.
And this is a team that doesn't have enough Jimmies and the Joes, so they're running out guys with strapped on shoulder pads and they're just trying to hold on. Let's look at some of these prize picks. Hopefully these will show up on the screen. There's a lot of Texas entries this week. Let's just start here. Alex, you asked me at the very top, what are the Isaiah Bond numbers? Well, there you go. He's at 30.5 receiving yards, 2.5 receptions, 18.5 longest reception.
To me, it's just like if we look at Isaiah Bond and we just consider, okay, there's a chance that he doesn't play, right? I mean, there's got to be a chance of that.
Oh, he's going to play, I think.
Well, but there's a chance he doesn't.
True.
And so if there's a small chance, if there's a chance he doesn't play, this is a guy wearing jeans at practice on Monday. But we're talking about like a 14% target share that would need to be redistributed. And so I think at this point it would be I know we're not on that page yet, but I think it would be malpractice not to get on Golden. It feels like that target share would probably be shifted over to him. He's been a real kind of drive starter and fire plug for the offense. I think he's sitting at 58.5 or something like that. I might like that even if Bond was at full steam, just on, with how good Golden's been recently. So I think with the Bond stuff, I wouldn't touch it. I'm worried about him if he plays being a decoy. And maybe if we think he's more of a decoy, that 18.5 longest reception would be the one that I would like less, right? Doesn't it seem like Isaiah Bond? I don't know. I'm not bullish on Bond making a bunch of big plays in this football game. I could be completely wrong.
Onward, this is unofficially the Jaden Blues section of Prize Picks. Is there another seldom used backup running back that has 8 different injuries on Prize Picks this week? Is there one of all of these that stand out for you?
The one I can't. What is the 11.5? I can't see that.
Longest
rush.
Longest rush.
11.5 is longest rush.
It's like it's almost like there's a part of me that just says y'all are just messing around with Jaden Blue. Like, are y'all really like there's a part of me that seems like that's so disrespectful to just say he would only have anything less. And I know where we're at, but I don't think Clemson's run defense isn't that good, is it?
No, it is. Yeah, they got some good players on more, but no, statistically not great.
Anwar, I think someone posted a stat in the chat earlier that said their rush defense in the fourth quarter is 131st in the country.
Like Stanford and Louisville both went for well over 200. I think they give up.
You with the Jaden Blue thing. I might just go with the rushing yards at 25.5 catch. I know he'll have, I know his touches are limited, but you just got to feel like he's due for a big long run at some point. Like you just feel like it's got to be coming at some point. So his touches will be limited, but I feel like I think I would mess with that 25.5 to be quite honest with you, Catch.
I like someone in the chat just mentioned JD Hack. The 1.5 receptions just feels like he can, and then 10.5 receiving yards. I mean, he'll get that on one catch if he gets a couple catches. So I think, those numbers are so low. They're all kind of appealing, right? But then I look back at his stats, like they haven't used Jaden Blue at all the last two games. I've been duped the last two games because I've taken the Moors with them and they haven't hit. So
you know what's fascinating too about that, Jason? They still make Jaden Blue available to the media every Monday, though.
I know.
I have no clue what's going on here.
He's out there at the media. They're bringing him out there. That means they're going to use him this week. I'm taking the Moors, and then he gets like 5 yards rushing.
Jason, you and I, it's the old Xavier Worthy. He's due.
Yeah, exactly. He's had 9 combined rushing yards in his last 2 games. I'm like, but we know he's talented. So I'm taking the receptions. Clemson's defensive line, I can see some checkdowns, dumps to their back. So I would take, if I'm playing Jaden Blue, I'm taking the more on the receptions and receiving yards.
I do think the Matthew Golden Red Devil on the rushing and receiving touchdowns is a sneaky good play. Ben, they like to get him the ball in the red zone, especially, that's Quinn's guy. And so I don't know if that's the golden play I'll make. We'll switch screens here in a second.
He hasn't scored since Arkansas, though, Catch. So, but he did drop that
one.
Exactly.
All right, here we go. It's the Matthew Golden, Quinn Ewers section of the table, along with a little Trey Weisner sneaked in. Alex, hammer all of the Moors on Matthew Golden, especially the receiving yards, right?
Yeah, I'm just like I just put in a $100 entry with Matthew Golden, Moore, and then we can talk about the other one whenever we get to it. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is on this one, man. Golden's going to go for more than 59.5.
I like the confidence. Does anybody else
taking more than 4.5 receptions? He's been peppered.
I don't know about 5. That might be one too many.
I took him against Georgia more than I remember 4, and I think he hit it in the first quarter or something. So,
what do you think, Anwar? Are they just going to feed it to Golden?
He's their main target. He's the main guy. It's funny, Catch. When Golden, you remember this, Catch, when Golden got here, the thing I reported was like they had an instant, rapport. Yep. And people were like, "Oh, come on, and get out of here." And it's like, no, that seems to be Quinn's guy, and that's his guy. So, with Bond, we not knowing what to expect from him. Every week I feel like in the war room I say that they're trying to get more touches for Ryan Wingo, and it just doesn't happen. It's just it's a golden thing, I think.
Quinn, I don't know what to do with Quinn. If I of all of the players on this Texas list, he's probably the one that I'll stay away from the most. I don't know. I don't know what to expect on War. I don't know that his passing yards are going to be high in volume. This could be a game where Texas really does try to establish a run against a mediocre Clemson run defense. I don't know what to think about from a passing touchdown standpoint. Any of these Ewers entries you love?
I'll be honest with you, Catch. There's something on my screen. All I keep seeing is a bunch of news. Like there's like 4 different things that say new on my screen. I don't know if I'm supposed to click on something, but I can't even see the Ewers number.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Do you see that? Is that just a me thing?
No, I see it too, and I don't know why it's there.
Okay.
I can tell you though. I can just tell you the Ewers
You can
number.
just click on those 3 buttons next to it on War, and you can just click. Or wait, I took on War off the screen, so maybe that was the wrong thing to do. that's my bad. Here,
I think if you just don't hover, don't hover your mouse over the things, and those don't show up.
They show up for me too, but people don't know.
Okay. What's the Ewers number? I'm
260.5 passing yards.
How much is it?
260.5.
Is there a devil associated with that too?
Nope.
Oh wow.
It's just 260.5 straight up.
You know what? I would probably take I don't know if I would take the more on it. I would be a little. It's weird. I feel like Quinn's numbers. I feel like the more when he's playing indoors is usually probably the best lock for him. I feel like the more is outside. I don't know what it is. I think the more is in it. Like next week when he goes to Atlanta, I would take the more on everything Quinn related.
Yo, man, it's like, I think the question is with this. I look at I think if we was talking about what we think the game script of this game is going to be, and this would go on to Quintravion Weisner. I wish they had a rushing attempts for Quintravion Weisner because that thing hit. I thought I was dead in the water versus Georgia when that game script went like it did. And Texas could not get anything going. And I had him at over 18.5 rushing attempts. And somehow they're still giving that dude rushing attempts at the very end of the game at the worst possible times. And he got to 19 in that football game. But they're not giving us a rushing attempts in this game. It's the kind of game where I would have loved to take the more on the Quintravion Weisner rushing attempts. And so for that reason, I think that it might be a game script setup. If it goes the way I see, I think they're going to, we've seen how Sark has done this whenever he's gotten in these spots. He does this has been a little bit of a win ugly on offense and win with defense kind of football team. I don't think Stark cares much about the style points. I think that he'll try to take the air out of the football if he gets up ahead, which I think they will. And so I think that the 32.5 pass attempts for Quinn, I might be tempted to take the less.
Yeah.
I was thinking similarly, Alex. I'm taking the less on the passing yards. I mean, he seems to, I think he had huge numbers against Georgia because they're playing from behind. But in games that they're winning and expected to win like this, he's not been putting up huge numbers. If you think of Texas A&M, you think of Arkansas. So I would take the less on Quinn in this one if this game unfolds the way I think we're all expecting it to.
Isn't the elephant in the room on this page the 83.5 Quintravion Weisner rushing yards? Like I have already hit the more on that, and we'll have that in a play here. I might make $100 play myself, Alex. Like Weisner, I feel like 100 yards. If Texas wins this game, he's rushing for 100 yards.
Yeah, well, they need to get it. And I think here's the thing: is they're going to make a big point to get the outside zone run back going again. Because whenever they faced Georgia last time, Sark talked about it all week. We finally got this thing back on track. Everything we do, we run off outside zone, yada, yada, yada. And then what happened was they were terrible with the outside zone run game in that. Like that was their issue. It was their demise. They had to get away from it. They only, what was it? 21 rushes that weren't scrambles by the quarterback. They only had, it's like 8 of them that were outside zone. I forgot. I broke it all down in my column last week. But it's like the way that Georgia presents defensively, they have this perfect scheme to shut down their Texas outside zone run game. And who knows if that'll – I don't think that Clemson's not equipped to shut it down in the same way. And so when they get that thing going, Quintravion Weisner, that guy has big games because they feed him the football. And I wish we could have the rushing attempts just because I know it's going to be the philosophy to stick with him. And that way, whether or not he's efficient or not, whether or not the run game's efficient or not, they're going to stick with it. But I do think in this one, he's going to be able to have some efficiency. And I think you're right, Catch. I think it's probably going to be a 100-yard day.
In fact, if you wanted to get a little crazy with it, I think you can bump that up to a 99.5 Red Devil on rushing yards for Weisner. So I haven't done that yet. Like I'm sticking with the 83.5 right now because I'm being safe. But
no, it's up to a 109.5 with the Red Devil. Is that too daring?
Really?
Yeah.
What just happened? I swear a second ago. Oh, you're right. 109.5.
You might get it. He'll probably get it.
I swear that has changed.
If he's going to get to 99.5, he's going to get to 109.5.
All right, we got another screen of Texas picks here. Okay, not those. Although, so I guess we've got this one here. I'm sorry. Yeah. So we've got the Arch Manning, 0.5 rushing and receiving touchdowns. It's never going away, Anwar. Alex, where's the one on here that you love? I know you said you had one.
No, I have one on Clemson.
Oh, okay. Well, so what are your big locks? What are the ones? What have you paired?
I paired Matthew Golden more than 58 or 59.5, whatever he is. He's gonna go over it. And I paired it with Phil Maffa under 48.5 rushing yards. I'm thinking with Maffa the same way I think about Bond, dude. It's like I know he's been playing and stuff, but he's like, there's like, what are you going to do? He's like, we got a bunch of these young guys. Like, I just don't know how much he's going to play.
Alex, I'm literally entering a pick and those are the two that I've got before you said it, put in there. So hopefully I don't bring you down.
Not sure.
I'm hopping on that Gunnar Helm 17. If Cody Carpentier's watching right now, give me that 17.5 longest reception. I'm just going to ride it. So I haven't hit it. It hasn't hit every week, but it's hit on most weeks. And it feels like they've dropped it down. It's been 19.5.
Yep.
And this week it's 17.5. And I kind of feel like Gunnar is due for a little bit of a bounce back strong game. He hasn't been the focal point quite as much towards the end. What did he have in that Georgia game? It wasn't much.
I have it in front of me. Hold on.
He was mostly a non-factor.
Like
Holmes long in that game, or just his overall?
Just his stat line.
It was like one.
Yeah.
So I can tell you
1 for 11 catch against Georgia.
I knew it was one catch.
Thank you. So I think Gunnar Helm has about. I'm not going with the receptions or the overall yards, but they're going to get him. He's going to get a ball at some point in that game. He'll break that 17.5. All right. Well, guys,
the 6 games before that, 22, and then you had 17. So he's right there. But then 22, 24, 23, 30. Those are long receptions, by the way.
Yeah.
So
it's time for another one, man. He's about to go to the Senior Bowl. He's going to come on. He's going to have a big catch in this game.
So outside of the Texas picks, I'm looking at just the picks as a whole.
What about the Clemson picks? What about Klubnik?
Well, that's what I'm trying to pull up. I didn't take screenshots of I don't know why my screen is not. It's like fighting with me right now. But if I go to Clemson,
Klubnik is at 216.5 passing yards. He does have an interception.
Feels like it's interception. Is that a goblin?
No, just straight 0.5. No goblins, no demons. No interception play for Quinn, which I thought was interesting. Club is 216.5, 25.5 rushing yards.
That yardage number feels a little bit like a stay away to me.
Yeah, I don't think Texas is going to be up so big that you'll see Cade get like trash yards. I think the game's going to be close enough that he's going to see the A team the entire way. And I don't think Jahdae Barron and Malik Muhammad and Jalen Gilbo and Taff and like that group, hasn't played the way they played all season, just to go to DKR 4 days before Christmas in the biggest game of their lives, and then
gets Taff against his old quarterback and stuff.
He let Cade Klubnik do a number on them. Like, I don't know. I'd stay away from the interception, though. The most impressive Cade Klubnik stat is that he leads the nation in touchdown to interception ratio, 6.6 to 1, which is.
But I think Texas, are they number one in interceptions? They're up there. Forced.
Third in the country.
So yeah, I mean, Texas forces a lot. Klubnik doesn't turn the ball over a lot with interceptions. So be an interesting dynamic. Yeah, but I probably wouldn't play a catch. I'm with you.
Yeah, strength on strength there. I guess I didn't know about that 6. What is that? Was he have like 26-4 or something like that?
33-5, I think. Right?
Okay. Jeez. 43.
33-5.
Oh, let's see. 43
and 5. Yeah.
Okay.
40 touchdowns total on the season. 33 in the air, 7 on the ground.
Gosh, he's had a little bit more of a prolific season than I had given him credit for. But okay. Because usually whenever a quarterback plays Texas, even if they're not some kind of turnover machine, it's usually a green goblin to get an interception because the Prizepicks knows that Texas forces so many interceptions. But I guess it does make sense. It's like Jason was saying, kind of strength on strength, immovable object versus unstoppable force or whatever.
Is there a single Clemson player that we love? Like, I'm looking at Wesco. There's he's been there as the true freshman, has been kind of been their big play guy. When he gets the ball, it's usually, hey, 70-yard touchdown, and then he won't get the ball a whole lot the rest of the game, but he'll splash for that monster play. I just don't know that what receivers this year have broken 50 yards on Texas? Onward, does anybody stick out?
Oh, God. I feel like I remember that.
Like 50 yards. That's it.
It's a good question.
I feel like I remember that.
What was the game where there was the coverage burn on DeAndre Moore that had to be not on DeAndre Moore, on Jalen Gilbo? I'm thinking of the slot. On Gilbo, what game was that?
Yeah, but was that 50? And I
guess that guy probably came close to 50 because that was probably like a 35-something yard completion.
Anyway, it's a long way for me to say the less on West.
It didn't like I could just think back. It's like in previous years say, oh yeah, well, I mean, Hollywood Brown went for 280, or Xavier Hutchinson had his 12 catches per our usual arrangement. Like it hadn't been quite like that this year.
It just feels like the smartest thing we could do is go as heavy as possible on the single biggest and best unit in this game. So in the Texas secondary and pass defense, I trust. I might just take some lessons on these because those guys haven't failed Texas once this season. They've delivered the goods. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap this up. Any final thoughts on
there's a free play too, right? I think there's
a Christmas I saw, right? There's a Christmas play.
Yeah, Jokic, right?
Yeah, I think Jokic, he's at 0.5.
Oh, yeah, that's a Christmas Day play for sure.
Yeah, so just kind of, nothing better if you can hit on, 4 and then just be waiting on Jokic to score 1 point. Like, I mean, you're good to go. So
pick your favorite Texas play, which for Alex might be that Matthew Golden 59.5.
Mm-hmm.
Pair that with Jokic. Just throw $20 on it and take your $60 and go home happy.
Yeah, man.
25. You can play up to 25 on it, by the way. So 25
play your 25, win your 75, and
I'm not a degenerate. I'm not a degenerate Prizepicks player, by the way, that knows all these ins and outs.
He's like, it's 25 and it's only up until 7:44 p.m. I don't know how I know these things. I just do.
Anwar, I follow their Twitter feed and I have notifications on my phone every time Prizepicks tweets. I get a notification on my phone because I don't miss any.
You don't have notifications for Orange Bloods.
Yeah, no, actually I do. Yes, but I pay for the Prizepicks ones.
You lie. That was so unconvincing, like me saying I'm good.
No, I do have those notifications, but
all right. Well, look, we'll wrap this thing up, guys. We've got House Divided at noon. We've got Football with Friends later on this evening at 6. Big day of shows tomorrow, starting with the Old Fashioned at 9 a.m. as we get ready for,
Friday night football action too, man. We got like all kinds of. It's awesome, dude. Like tis the season to just enjoy some football, dude. This could be great.
People have been like, "Oh, bah humbug, NIL." We're getting ready to have a weekend of playoff action in college football. Texas is in the thick of it. I love all the games. I can't wait to watch them. So yeah, stay with us here on Orange Bloods Live. We'll have nothing but nonstop content previewing Texas and Clemson all the way to kickoff. And obviously on Saturday evening when the game is over, myself and Jason, Chad, Anwar will hold it down in the Adam Lowy post-game show. So lots to look forward to here in the next 2 days. For myself, for Alex, for Jason, and Anwar, you guys have a great rest of the day. Hopefully you'll be watching us here on Orange Bloods Live for the rest of the afternoon and tomorrow and into the weekend. If not, if this is the only reason why you came, I can't blame you. The Prizepicks show is kind of the bomb. Have a great holiday.